Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. It is Friday, and we always start with Mr. Stephen Dow. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I don't know if you check out the comments in your videos, but everybody loves our conversations. They love your energy. Most people can feel your positive vibrations through the videos. So I just want you to know that we appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate the community. It's been very fun, to say the least, and just get to meet great people. So let's get it going.
People really doing the work. So the first thing we got to do in our first video is just kind of own the fact that rates are up across the board. I've talked to a dozen different lenders over the week. Base rates are up, or floor rates, or whatever you want to call them in your industry. It did not spare Velocity Mortgage. So let's talk about where the base or floor rate, whatever the right vernacular is, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I mean, it was at 1.649. Now it's moved up to 7.25. So pretty much a 3/4 rate move across the board, just like the Fed. And again, we don't want to, but unfortunately, Wall Street said, well, this is what we're paying for at that yield now, because this is what the Fed did. So it always has a trickle down effect to some degree. It's just how much. But I know with my company, we're very good about being conservative and kind of planning ahead, because it's just, we just know where this has always been headed. Pretty experienced as far as upper management. So very confident that we'll be able to kind of survive all this stuff. So at the moment, still funding loans. It's just, rates at a different place. And so we just have to adjust.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I just want to remind people about, because you and I have been talking for a while, and this might be somebody's first viewing. The non-QM market, it doesn't move every day, right? If you call up Matt, the mortgage guy, my Wednesday guest, it can move on him 3 times in a day. The non-QM world has this floor rate, and that changes sporadically, right? Typically around a Fed move, obviously we saw this week. So what I would tell a viewer watching this, we obviously have a Fed meeting in July. I actually don't know what day it is. I think it was the 13th, but that's just a wild ass guess. But just realize you've got, what is that, 4, maybe 5 weeks before a potential another move. I'm not saying one's coming. I'm just saying potential. So if you're right on the cusp of doing a deal, what is the process in your world so they could get the rate and not be, do they got to get to docs, or where in the process is a rate lock?
Well, we don't actually, the rate is honored based upon the rate sheet at the time the loan was submitted. To some degree, because we don't have a locking mechanism. So we'll be, we'll try to honor the rate to some extent, where, within the normal time frame of a 30 or 45 day close, so that you're just not sitting as a borrower. Oh, I'm going to take my sweet time and whatever. And, because it's going to put us in harm's way because by the time we go to sell that loan to Wall Street, the needles move so far that we're probably going to take a big haircut, and we don't want to do that. So time's of the essence, especially in this kind of, increasing market. So that's what basically, but there's no actual locking mechanism. So
I wanted you to say that there is no rate lock, but if you're in the work, you're getting the process, it's going along, there is some leeway to honor what has been done, which is cool. Well, but a lot, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to catch up. I was going to mention, as Matt, the mortgage guy was stating, if you like it, lock it in the sense, but with me, it says, if you like it, submit the loan and pay for the appraisal, and that's when kind of the clock starts. And so that's really what the basis is. If once the file's submitted, by paying for the appraisal, making sure that we have the funds to make it to the finish line, and then they electronically sign our little pre-approval, the ball gets rolling, and that's pretty much it at that point. And so that's officially submitted in, and so we'll honor the rate based upon that rate sheet at that time. So anything after that, rates change, and so unless you've paid for the appraisal, we're getting repriced.
Yeah, of course, the repricing happens. And again, a couple of things I think I forgot up front. Want to do the marketing spiel?
Yes, thank you so much. Again, I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital. All the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own. So let's get back to doing what we were doing. So in addition to that, obviously, we do have options to, lower the rate back down to some degree, where, previously you didn't have to, in a sense of buying down the rates. Obviously, the better the FICO score, the lower the rates. The lower the LTV, also the lower the rate. So my floor still is only 7.25 right now. So at 50% LTV or anything under that, it's 7.25, just to give people kind of a starting point if they're crunching numbers
Yeah. What we'll do here is we'll do a whole video on it because I just want people to realize the levers, knobs, whatever it is, they can pull themselves as borrowers.
Right.
And obviously we'll work in the 50-40-10, which is something I'm just going to dominate this year and next.
Right.
Which again, we have a Saturday live stream, not this Saturday, but the next one for probably 90 minutes. That's going to be a lot of fun. The other thing I want to talk about with
lots of water then.
Yeah. 2 bottles, Steve, two bottles, maybe for you 3. But what I want to tell people again is as an investor, higher rates are obviously, you don't welcome them. I'm not sitting here saying I welcome them, but they're just one variable on my spreadsheet. I change it. Right. I got to buy better. So some of you in deal flow, you got to go back and renegotiate price. I had a very sophisticated investor who does 50, 100, $150 million deals. I interviewed him. I think that was Monday, Rod Khalif. And he talked about, he had deals in flight where he got caught by 0.5%.
Right.
And he went back and he had to lower the price $10 million. He's like, hey, sorry, cost of capital went up. I can't pay this. I can't pay the higher rate and get the yield that I expect. We have to lower the price. Folks, this is why I am so excited by investors. Some sellers will say no, which they can keep their property. You just move on to the next one. Some will say yes, because they understand that rates are up. So this is a great time to be investors.
Agreed. And I was just going to say the times of the essence with that 50-40-10 type of setup, or, even in some cases now, because rates have gone up a little bit, maybe you restructure to a 30-60-10.
Maybe, yeah.
If they got enough equity and if it kind of makes sense. So, but what I'm saying with the time of the essence is that seller needs to make a move now. Right. Property values aren't going up. They're starting to kind of dip a little bit and soften. So if you want this kind of, setup and you want to get that price, then you got to make a move because comps around you are falling. And so you can't control that. And if the market determines that prices are coming down, then whatever agreed upon price may not be supported by the appraisal. So that's again, to kind of make sure everybody gets their, what they're really looking for.
Yeah. The 30-60-10 is just something I want to poke out a little bit. Because again, I think the 50-40-10 is awesome. The 30-60-10 works, but the only real difference is how much cash does the owner want.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If the owner wants 40%, then the 30-60-10 works, right? He gets 30% first. He or she is a 60% second. You got 10% down. So again,
or 40-50-10, or however you want, just do a combination of a 90% CLTV. So CLTV that's where I think, yes. So you do have some flexibility just depending upon what makes sense as far as the overall cash flow and then again, with the interest only option to it. So there's a lot of different, levers that you're saying to kind of pull to see if it could still cash flow based upon, the movement in rates and anything else. And then to some degree, what the, again, like you said, how much the seller's threshold is how much they want, how much money they need right now. So yeah, you'd have to find that right seller to get that motivation. But other than that, it could still work.
Yeah. Again, one of the things as investors you need to do is that you need to know what the numbers are going to be. The biggest number for most of us is cost of capital. If you want to get a non-QM lender, brand new LLC, whatever, I recommend Velocity Mortgage. I've used them on a couple of things. Stephen, how do you want them to reach out?
Again, just email sdow@velocitymortgage.com. Subject line, just the acronym ORAAT. Body of the email, maybe brief description of what you're looking for. Address would be great, actually. Desired terms, your mid-FICO score, best number to reach you back at. So I typically 24, 48 hours. It's getting a little bit further as far as the 24, 48, only because these kind of conversations with the 50, 40, 10 kind of setup tends to be a little bit longer of an explanation and or discussion. So it's dragging out a little bit longer. So bear with me, folks. I really appreciate everybody's patience. I'm trying to call, and I'm trying not to call too late, because I'm like literally calling people like 10 o'clock at night and they're like, hello, Steve, you know what I mean? So I apologize, but people have been pretty well received and very respectful because they understand I'm really, just slammed and problems to have, of course, but trying to make it to everybody. So thank you again for your patience.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Mike.